Welcome, my darlings, to my humble chateau. Please make yourself very comfortable. Relax your mind and release your imagination to me. I will bring you a story to entrance and entertain. Perhaps a frightening one. Perhaps a steampunk. Perhaps a bit of mythology. Anyway, sit back, enjoy, and subscribe to me. Well, my darlings, welcome to another collaboration. This one with Mortal Dilemmas. Please go visit his channel, and if you like what you hear, give him a like and a subscribe.
Back in 2012, I was a senior in high school. One time, I babysat the infant son of a couple who were close family friends. I put the baby down to bed early, probably 8 o'clock or so. He slept upstairs while I hung out downstairs in the living room, watching TV with the baby monitor nearby. The parents said they'd be back around midnight. At around 11 o'clock, I heard the baby screaming through the monitor. And I don't mean crying, I mean screaming. I worked at a daycare all through high school, and even to this day, I have never heard a baby scream like this. It didn't sound like he was upset or crying for food or diaper change. The scream made the hairs on my arms and the back of my neck stand up, even as I type this now, as if my instincts could pick up on some kind of primal terror from within. I ran up the stairs, opened the door of the baby's room and turned on the lights. He was there, standing at the crib, holding himself up on the rail with one hand. His other hand was pointing at the closet, still screaming. I picked him up, and he calmed down a bit as I patted him on the back. I brought him downstairs with me, as his parents were going to be home within the hour. I didn't have the courage to check the closet. I'm not ashamed to say it freaked me out, as it was just me and this baby in the house. The parents arrived home around midnight, as they had said. There was some confusion and frustration as to why the baby was still awake with me downstairs. When they questioned me about this, I told them what happened. I thought I'd sound like an idiot, and was kind of worrying about how I'd explain it leading up to their arrival. However, when I said what had happened, the mother's expression dropped. She shook her head and welled up, obviously distraught, and took her son upstairs without a word. Weird, because remember these are family friends, and we were usually on good terms. The father apologized on her behalf and for what I had experienced. He shared that his wife had been seeing the ghost of a Civil War soldier standing at the foot of their bed. He had never seen it, but he knew her fear was real and that they didn't know how to explain it. I never experienced anything paranormal myself that night. However, I have never seen anyone react with such palpable fear and distress for seemingly no reason ever since. The way the baby screamed, the way the mother's demeanor immediately changed when I told her what happened, are still what give me the creeps.
Ghost Cat, A Childhood Experience by Jaybird BBY. From the time I was 9 years old until almost my 11th birthday, my family lived in what I believe was an extremely haunted house. I could probably write a novel on it, all of the experiences I had in that house. But this one event has stayed with me the most growing up. This happened when I was 10 years old. On this day, it was probably mid-afternoon or so, my mom hooked my dog Nala to her leash and took her outside for a walk. I was inside watching TV or playing on my GameCube. Suddenly I hear my mom screaming from outside. Freaked out, I jump up and run to where she's standing in our yard. She's crying, staring at the road where I notice a red, wettish-looking mark on the road. We go back inside where Mom tells me that she saw our indoor-outdoor cat, Spotty, get hit by a car. She wouldn't go into full details at the time because I was a young child and she wanted to spare my feelings. But when I asked her about this event a few years ago, she told me that she remembers seeing Spotty's body go under and around the wheel. Anyway, my mom went back outside to look for Spotty, but aside from the bloodstain on the road, there was no sign of his body anywhere. My mom chalked it up to being that maybe he'd got stuck under the van that hit him. Fender or wheel or something. Note, the van hadn't stopped at all, even though my mother was screaming. Fast forward a week. We'd all been grieving for our cat. I'm pretty sure that it had been nearly, or maybe exactly a week since Spotty was hit. This time it was later at night, about 8:30 or 9 p.m. I was in the kitchen with my mom baking cookies. There is a window above our sink that looks out onto our front porch, and on the porch is a motion detection light. I was at the sink washing our mixing bowl when the light turned on. Catching my eye, I looked out the window and screamed, dropping the bowl. Outside on the porch, meowing to be let in, was Spotty. My mom ran to the door and let the cat inside. He walked in, jumped on the counter, and began eating from the bowl of cat food we kept there. I remember petting him, and my mom and I checked him over. He was completely unharmed. There was nothing to suggest he'd been hit by a van or missing for a week. No marks or scratches or blood, even though we'd both seen the bloodstain on the road. We kept him inside that night, but when we woke up the next morning, Spotty was gone, and we never saw him again.
This story isn't my own, but one that my father told me a week ago during his birthday. Normally, my father is easygoing and hardly has difficulty talking to others. Every birthday, however, he seems quiet and reserved, like he's dreading something that's lingering in the air. It wasn't until my brother and stepmother left and we both had a bit to drink that Dad leaned in close and quietly told me the story, with slurred words and a lump in his throat. Apparently when he was young, he saw what I can only describe as a wraith one night in a cemetery. He said it followed him everywhere, and even resorted to scratching him and pushing him into walls or down flights of stairs. It seemed to get bored and leave him alone, but only after making him end 3 relationships and nearly end up in the state hospital. When he met my mom, the thing came back, but seldom did more than move small objects. Eventually Mom was pregnant with me, and Dad moved in with her into their own place. One night, when my parents were on a drive shortly after I was born, the wraith appeared in the middle of the street, just as solid as they were. Dad swerved to dodge and narrowly avoided an oncoming semi-truck. This story frightened me because the way he described it matches the drawings I drew when I was 3. More scary still, it resembles an entity my younger sister has seen only a month before Dad told me. I'm not sure, but perhaps all these things are connected. Maybe the wraith has an obsession with my family. All things considered, I'll have to do some digging.
Exposed from Glitch in the Matrix. Find My Friend. By Throwaway for Reasons 18. Update to this post, everyone, is that I am now engaged. Mom showed up to see the ring being given to my fiancé. See, we've been engaged for a while beforehand. But the fact that I asked him was a constant thorn in her side, which was at times hilarious to poke at. Sis got a jeweler to make some rings for Mom's diamonds, to make her wedding rings, and me an engagement ring. It was a beautiful proposal. And now I think of it, I think that she finally approves of the engagement and the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. Hi all. A fellow Redditor directed me here after I posted this story in Glitch in the Matrix. I hope that's okay. Ever heard of a phone call app called Find My Friend? It uses GPSs on a person's phone so you can see where your friends and family are, like if they're close by, that sort of thing. To make a long story short, our mum passed in February. It was a devastating loss that we are still coming to terms with. On the day Mum died, her location showed up as unknown, which is weird to start with as Sis has had Mom's phone since that day. Well, it gets weirder. See, a few weeks ago, Sis calls me. She tells me that Mom is in her house, in the dining room to be exact. Apparently a notification popped up on her phone about it. Sis still has Mom's phone in her house 30 minutes away from our parents' house. Now's the time to also mention that Mom got cremated. Where are her ashes, you may ask? Currently in the dining room while we wait for her plot to be ready. So we come to today, and Mom has been in the dining room for the last hour. Sis keeps refreshing the app and she's still there. So gross. This raven.
My most recent experience happened almost a year ago to this day. My boyfriend, his mom, and myself took a trip to Ireland. I had never been to Ireland before. When we arrived at our Airbnb, it was quite late. I was exhausted and went to sleep almost immediately. I awoke to the feeling of being watched and sat up in my bed. When I opened my eyes, I saw an apparition of a nun standing close to the window, which was located on the wall across from the foot of the bed. Completely freaked out, I woke my boyfriend up and told him what happened. Our Airbnb was within walking distance to Grafton Street, which is the downtown shopping district of Dublin. As we made our way over, we turned the corner and the first thing I see is a large statue of a nun in front of the building that actually intersects with the property we were staying on. The creepiest part of all this is that I hadn't a clue about the statue or the building. I did some research and discovered that the statue is dedicated to Catherine McCauley. In the early 1900s, she founded the Sisters of Mercy, which was dedicated to helping women get off the streets. It always feels a little scary sharing these stories, however this one really stuck with me. Maybe it was a waking dream or a coincidence. Who knows?
Well, my darlings, please give our lovely guest, Mortal Dilemma, some appreciation, and if you like his stories, go visit his channel and subscribe. He's just starting out. Give him a good start. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye, my darlings.